Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our homework for Module 14, Lesson 4. We are adding decimals in this lesson, which seemed to go really well. So let's see how you feel if you're doing the homework with me. So here we are. This is P135. A scientist measures the length of 2 jumps made by a grasshopper. How far did the grasshopper jump? So the grasshopper jumped here, 2 38/100 meters, and then 1 9/10 meters. Our equation to model the problem, we could do any order because it is addition. So I'm going to do his first jump was 2 38/100, and his second jump was 1 9/10. There's our equation. Now, I like to line up my decimals. So I'm going to stack these jumps, remembering to line up the decimals so that I can keep everything in the right place. When I add that 0 to the 1 9/10, making it 1 90/100, doesn't change the value, right? Right. Here we go. 8. 9 plus 3 is 12. I'll regroup, drop the decimal. 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. The grasshopper jumped 4 28/100 meters, which would then finish our equation. Here we have, as I said, let me get this situated. Here we go. 12 54/100 plus 6 18/100. Again, I'm going to try to write just right here, keeping everything lined up. 4 plus 8 is 12. Regroup. 7, drop the decimal. 8, 1. We're going to have 18 72/100 right there. 208 96/100 plus 31 44/100. Add and regroup. Drop the decimal. Lots of regrouping in this one, right? I believe this would be 240 40/100. You could also say 240 4/10. Number 4, 91 7/10 plus 23 32/100. I'm going to add that 0. I'm going to make that a little clearer. Add that 0 in the hundreds place for our first number, and then add, as always, 115 2/100. Here, 3 17/100, 9 84/100. Add, regroup as necessary, drop down that decimal, 13 100. 35 23/100 plus 11 9/10. Add a 0 for the 11 9/10 to keep everything lined up. Add with your regrouping. Drop down your decimal. 47 13/100. Last one. 42 6/10. 19 5/10. Adding, regrouping, dropping a decimal, 62 1/10. All right. The cost of 2 magazines is shown in an advertisement. Horse Health costs $4.85, and World of Ponies costs $3.69. What is the cost of both of the magazines? We can use a chart. We had these in our workbook pages in class. The decimals are there for us, so we can just add our amounts into that chart and then do our work. 5 plus 9, we can regroup, add, regroup, drop that decimal, and the cost for both magazines would be $8.54. Tanya measured the growth of her plant each week. The first week, the plant's height measured 2 and 65 decimeters. During the second week, Tanya's plant grew 7/10 of a decimeter. How tall was Tanya's plant at the end of the second week? The steps we're going to take, we are going to line up our numbers with their decimal. So first one, line up numbers and decimals. Add as normal. Before I add, I need 0 and 7/10 is going to be 0 and 70 hundredths, right? Because I'm going to put that 0 in. Then I'll add, regroup as needed. There it is. Drop my decimal. And then we would know her plant is 3 and 45 hundredths decimeters at the end of that second week. Oops, sorry if you couldn't see that. There it is. Test prep. Which of these represents 72 and 3/10 plus 29 and 85 hundredths? Again, I'll put my pen is running out. Let's see. Put my 0 in. All of my pens. It's the end of the year, friends. All of my pens are running out. And so I've added this 0 to keep everything lined up. When I add, regroup, drop the decimal. Looks like I have 102 and 15 hundredths. That is one of the choices. What about 4 and 54 hundredths plus 17 and 29 hundredths? Can I put a 0 in front of that 4 without changing the value? Absolutely. Add, as always, regrouping as needed. Drop the decimal. 21 and 83 hundredths, letter D. What about 260 and 37 hundredths plus 86 and 64 hundredths? Lined up. I can add a 0 there if I want. 7 plus 4, regroup. Keep going, drop your decimal and regrouping as needed. And let's see, 347 and 100th, letter C. Maya adds 193 and 27 hundredths plus 625 and 86 hundredths. Which place value does she need to regroup? Select all that apply. Well, let's see what happens. Line everything up properly. Here I am in the hundredths. Will I regroup 7 plus 6? I will. I'm going to mark it right away and then do it. We have 13. We'll regroup. Here I am in the tenths. Will I regroup? I will. There we go. I have 3 plus 5 is 8 plus 1 is 9. That's in the ones place. I did not regroup. 9 plus 2 in the tens. I am going to be regrouping. And 6 plus 1 plus 1, not in the hundreds. So we regrouped in the hundredths, the tenths, and the tens. Okay. An apple costs $1.35 and a carton of juice costs $2.89. What is the cost of an apple and a carton of juice? $1.35 plus $2.89. 5 plus 9, we'll have to regroup. 8 plus 3 plus 1. Drop my decimal and regroup. 1 plus 2 plus 1. It looks like the apple and the juice are going to cost him $4.24. We have not talked about time, start time, and elapsed time. If you are familiar with that, thinking about if it's 6:45, 3 hours from that would be 9:45. And then a half an hour would be another 30 minutes. So if I think about that, from 9:45 to 10, that's 15 minutes. and then 10 to 10:15. So I'm going to break these up into 15-minute increments, 9:45 to 10 to 10:15. So that would be our end time, 10:15 a.m. If you are familiar with elapsed time or not, we have not worked on that in class. Could be a spiral review from maybe 4th grade. Complete the statement with equal to, greater than, or less than. 7/8 times 5 is what compared to 5/8? It should be greater than. You agree? All right, and that's our spiral review there. I will maybe see you momentarily for the next lesson on subtracting decimals. Until then, I say goodbye.